Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters and dear friends. Hope you guys are doing well. If there's non-Muslims tuning into this, which I'm sure they will be, it's great that you've come to my channel, inshallah, because our whole point today is, obviously you guys know from the title, this grooming gang issue, yeah? And as Muslims, we would love for you guys to hear where we're coming from, and we would just really appreciate, if for a moment, we know the news, everyone, Muslim, we just want you to, today, zone out, meaning, put that thinking to a side, and hear us out. What does Islam really teach? And as Muslims, what is our say on this matter of grooming young girls, whoever it may be, whoever it's done by? How do you feel?
Automatically, as a human being, yeah, not talking about religion or race or caste or creed, immediately when you hear stuff like this, it sickens you to the core.
Yes.
It's a vile and cowardly act to be preying on disenfranchised and vulnerable children, women, or anyone who's been a victim to this. That's the first and foremost, and that's what we want to make clear as well from the beginning. This video is by no means in any fraction of the matter that we are defending it. This act has absolutely no defense whatsoever, and any human being that has, you know, any emotion or justice in their heart will see something like this and they will automatically be disgusted to the core.
Exactly. If there's one thing we're defending, we're just trying to defend Islam from this vile behavior.
Exactly.
That is only one thing. So when we
Islam is free from this.
So when we come with statistics and stuff like that, the only thing we're defending here is we're freeing Islam from these individuals. That's the only thing. And when you said that, it reminded me of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when a man came and said, I want to commit sexual intercourse with this. Yeah? And the Prophet sat him down. And this is sexual intercourse, meaning two people are consenting. Let alone not consenting and taking them and exploiting them, yeah? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, would you want that for your mom? He said, no, I wouldn't. Would you want that for your daughter? No. For your sister? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, you wouldn't want that for your own, yeah? Then why would you do that? And this is two people consenting. So let alone somebody going and saying, you know what, I'm going to... How would the Prophet act?
And a kid as well. Because this is an issue and it is happening in certain communities. It's very important that if you are a Muslim or you're embroiled or you're around this, there's a few things to understand, yeah? Because one issue that people did say was certain communities want to keep such issues hidden. Yeah, we can't go away from this fact. And it's very important, Islamically, you shouldn't keep it hidden. In fact, there's a very good verse that comes to mind, chapter 4, verse 135. O you who believe, be upholders of justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it goes against yourselves, your parents, or your family. So if you are a parent and your child is embroiled in some madness, it is your duty to make sure they are brought to justice. Yeah, you don't take them to the side and say, no, don't worry, we'll just cover it up or whatnot. This has to be brought out. And just because someone is white, black, or brown, or whatever, Islam is the only religion that overtly, clearly, in text, refutes racism. Clearly. So these perpetrators that are targeting whites or whatever, this is against the Islamic principle.
There's no connection. There is no way you can make a connection with Islam in this.
Antithetical.
We're going to watch a video which we're going to react to, hopefully. Let's watch that, and then we're going to come to the statistics, etc.
That they're simply hard to believe. But this one is true. As many as 1 million white English children may have been the victims of Muslim rape gangs, better known as grooming gangs, in towns up and down Great Britain. Policy analyst George Igler.
I mean, when you counter an issue that is just so unbelievable, just so outside your frame of reference and understanding, the immediate human reaction is just not want to believe it at all.
Perhaps even harder to believe is that while there have been prosecutions, British authorities have still not stopped this criminal activity. There's a particular problem involving Pakistani heritage men who target young, vulnerable white English girls. Not my words, but a member of Parliament, Jack Straw, who also said these Pakistani heritage men view white English girls as, quote, easy meat. This is when some shout racism, but here are the facts. Calculations based on convictions show that a British Muslim male is 170 times more likely to be part of a sex grooming gang than a non-Muslim. And there are no recorded instances of non-Muslims doing...
Did you really just say 170 times? Let's keep that in mind. Let's just carry on.
Doing this to Muslim girls as part of a criminal enterprise. In one local jurisdiction, it was estimated that 6 out of 7 Muslim males either knew about or were part of a grooming gang.
What you do not have is any example of non-Muslim men targeting Muslim girls for this organized form of abuse. So the argument that this crime exists everywhere is not only false, but is being deliberately cultivated by the media and by the government inquiry that is kicking the can down the road.
The grooming gangs.
Okay, let's stop there. Yeah. So I heard keywords. Yeah. It started off with Muslims are to blame. Then it was Pakistani. Then I heard easy meat, meaning that these individuals are targeted because these girls are easy. And what this guy just said, and 100 and we're as Muslims, we are 170 times more likely to do this, which is, I don't know what statistics.
That's crazy.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know where he got that from. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he didn't do maths at school. Is there Caucasian grooming gangs?
Of course there are.
Okay. What's the percentage?
They say 38%, I think, something like that.
So 38% is
according to
Caucasian.
Co-op, yeah.
The rest is all Asians.
This is a fringe. This is a branch that's been taken of the umbrella you were talking about was child sex abuse. This grooming gangs is one
It's
element.
one little element.
You can look at 50,000 people are watching indecent child pictures online. You've got currently 261 celebrities that are being investigated for child sex abuse. You're seeing Scotland Yard covering this up. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So 38% Caucasian, yeah, and the rest is Asian.
UK, no, not the rest of Asian. There's 22% black, 28% Asian.
Okay. All right. No problem. Yeah.
Right.
Is what's in common? The victims are.
A lot of the time they say the victims are white. That's what they
Okay.
say.
So then we need to ask a question: why are the Caucasian and the black men going for white girls?
Yeah, so it could be a problem of race. It could be.
No. Why? No. Even the Caucasian.
Yeah.
Why are they going for their own race?
Yeah, it's a good point.
No. Why? It's a question because the thing is, the victims seems like it's a regular pattern of victims. The perpetrators are a mixture. So if the perpetrators are a mixture and the victim is the same, how can you get a small group and say, look, victims are the same? Look, these guys. Right. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So because the thing is, it shows, it comes back to easy meat. Yeah, easy meat, not only for the Asian grooming gangs, vile animals, but the same with the perpetrators, black and white. They're doing the same thing. Why, what do we blame them? Okay. Why does the Caucasian?
The only difference is,
why are they doing it?
Right wingers aren't as vocal about other races or cultures or religions as they are about Muslims.
Okay,
and because they are.
So are they basically trying to say that we are okay with our own kind raping our own kind?
That's literally a quote of what they said. They said British crimes should be perpetrated by British people.
What kind of a sick mind is that? It should be. Nobody should do it.
Let's deal with the second to last, the penultimate thing you just mentioned. The most recent CEOP, which is the Child Exploitation Online Protection Centre. Yeah. They looked at 2,379 potential offenders caught grooming girls since 2008. And basically they found that 26% of those individuals were Asian, 38% were white, etc. Now, of the Asians in 2012, that 415 were of the Asians, there were 35 of which were Pakistani. So here, because he's mentioned Pakistanis, right?
Yeah.
What he said is actually factually incorrect. Yeah. What he said, according to the most authoritative body in this country that analyzes these statistics, is actually factually incorrect, and he's been allowed to get away with it. He said that this is a particular problem for Pakistanis. Actually, factually, that's not correct, because only 35 of 415 Asians were Pakistani. 5 of them were from Bangladesh, which means to say that 10%, and this is what people have said about this. 10%. The Guardian has said 10% of the Asians were Muslims. So in other words, this is not a specific it's not a specific Muslim problem as was suggested, as was suggested in the beginning when they said it was a Muslim issue. Now, this is one point. The second point is really, really important anyways, which is the last thing he said. He said that this is not an issue, okay, which relates to other races, which is completely false when you look at it from an international perspective. The Polaris Project, which is one of the leading, once again, authorities in this, conducted a survey which, using the Bureau of Central Statistics in America's statistics, found that 77% of Americans being human trafficked, like the human trafficking going on, are people of color. So basically black people, people from Asia, etc. And the people that are doing this the most are in fact white people. So human trafficking in many ways is more severe than grooming because it's literally selling slaves for the purpose of sexual exploitation. Yeah, this is happening in the United States of America more so from white people to the people of color than it is happening in the UK.
Okay, so I want to be Tommy Robinson for a minute.
Yeah.
I want to use that because this is what exactly he's doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said to me in America, there's these Caucasian men who are using coloured girls. They send them for sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So slavery, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put Tommy Robinson brain. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. It's gonna be hard for me to be him.
All right.
And okay. All right. Is America a Christian country?
Well, the majority of Americans, according to the census...
Excuse me, sir. So I'm Tommy Robinson. I just want a direct question.
Yeah, so you would say
It's a Christian country, yeah?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay.
Yeah.
They follow the Bible.
The majority of them.
Are they Caucasian?
The majority of them.
Is exploitation happening?
Yes.
That's a Christian issue to me.
So yeah, if you take the same... Look, that's the thing. If you take
this is
the
what's
same...
happening here. This is exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So now I want you guys to understand this. This is the reason why. So would I have a right to go to Tommy and say, look, mate, you're a Christian. I don't know, it's probably a Christian, yeah? I want you, this is your problem right now, yeah? What are you going to do about it? How would you feel?
Well, that's the point. This is a false premise here. That just because there's a correlation, that there's a causation. And there's a difference between correlation and causation. For example, if we did a study on obese people, obesity and depression. And
Which I'm one. I am actually, you know.
No. Well, if we did a study on obesity and depression, right?
Yeah.
And we picked up a sample of 100 people and we said that we want to find out if obesity links to depression.
Okay.
And we asked those individuals, are you depressed? And some of them say, well, the majority of them say yes. That's a correlation. Okay. But we have no right to judge that the reason for the depression is obesity, because it could be that it's depression that led to obesity rather than the obesity that led to depression. So correlations and causations are two different things. You have to look holistically at the situation. And one more thing that I just wanted to mention quickly was the NSPCC has said that 90%, because we talked about human trafficking being a general sexual exploitation problem, but the NSPCC has said in relation to children that 90% of children have been sexually abused at one stage by adults, and for the most part these adults
Asians, yeah.
it can't be Asians because for the most part they were their family members,
God.
right? So here we have layers of problems. We have exploitation, which is one layer. General sexual exploitation, which is a problem in the West. It's a problem in the West. And it's not something you can scapegoat to Muslim communities or any other communities. You have a problem of child exploitation, which the NSPCC says is reaching epidemic levels of 90%, right? And the majority of people that are taking part of this are people, family members doing it to their own children or to their own nieces or to their own whatever it may be. This is happening. So 90% of these people are in fact... they cannot be Muslim by virtue of population, because Muslims account for 5% of the UK population. So from these perspectives, it seems like these narratives, what they're intentionally doing is they're trying to sabotage statistical information in order to derive some kind of false conclusion about Muslim depravity in relation to sexual intercourse or exploitation.
Yeah. No, to be honest, look, the fact that there's non-Muslims doing this or non-Asians, you need to bring an argument where you're going to say, look everywhere. It's nobody but Asians and Muslims. Then we will say, you know what, okay, there is a problem going on here. But anyways, let's watch it, and then we're going to come to... We've got some things to say.
Yeah.
But let's watch it, because it might...
Yeah.
Have been traced back as far as the late 1980s. At-risk white English girls, often from broken homes and some as young as 9 years old, were wooed or groomed by teenage Muslim boys called Romeos, and even by groups of Muslim men who hung around school gates. The plan was to make the girl feel important. She was given gifts and drugs, but she was being groomed to be a drug-addicted prostitute. Then came the gang rapes. The girls were threatened with death if they tried to flee.
It's not just sexual abuse. Unspeakable levels of violence. Victims being raped with knives. Victims being raped with bottles. Victims having their tongue nailed to tables. These are sometimes girls who are being picked up from children's homes on a Friday, are being raped during the course of the weekend by hundreds of men, and then returned with bleeding groins back to the children's homes on a Monday morning, and they don't do anything about it at all.
Christine's goddaughter was preyed on by the grooming gang.
They pulled up by the side of her in cars. They tried to get her in the car. They were talking to her come on, come with us, we'll take you here, we'll take you there.
Were you saying that the authorities make it sound like it's the English girl's fault?
Yeah, or the parents' fault. It's your fault because you haven't got control of your child.
If you are a young English girl, particularly between the ages of 9 and 14, and you find yourself subject to the perversions of Muslim men, you effectively exist in a country where the forces of law and order don't exist at all.
They said Muslim way too many times.
Yes.
You know, if it was such a Muslim problem, yeah, if you look at the top 5 countries in which rape is just the highest, yeah, the top 5 countries in which...
Indicates Pakistan?
Number 1 is the US, yeah,
Okay.
and they are a majority Christian country. Number 2, South Africa,
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
majority Christian country. Number 3, Sweden,
Wow.
atheistic country.
We're going there as well. Yeah.
Number 4, be careful when you go there.
Yeah.
Number 4 is India, Hindu country. And number 5, UK, which is atheist / Christian country. Not one of them are majority Muslim country. If this was such an issue, it would be just...
that on its own just destroys the whole argument.
But if you look at the facts, no one credible has mentioned religion. You don't have any credible research or peer-reviewed journals that has claimed with backed up research that it is a Muslim Islamic problem, number 1. No judge linked it to Islam. You have no victim that has linked it to Islam. No police report has linked it to Islam. So the question arises, where on earth is this Muslim thing coming from?
Apart from the far right groups.
Apart from the fire up group. Now, if they're saying no, it is a Muslim problem, you have to now conclude that the police are wrong, the judicial system is wrong, the victims are wrong, the policing system is wrong. So
Putting them all aside, you can say, oh, the whole system is wrong. The victim would have come and say, you know what? These guys, before they were doing it, I heard them talking about this verses of the Quran, and they were saying this, and
they were praying, they had the Quran open, or something.
Yeah, no, if they had the Quran open, they would not be doing it. Another thing, to equate it like Asians equal as Muslims, then the whole of India, Hindus, therefore become Muslim then, because they're Asian.
I think the majority of Asians in this country are actually Indian.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to say the majority, but at least the vast, maybe the majority actually, the majority of Indians are actually Hindu.
exactly.
In this country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Again, this term grooming gang. Yeah, let's not get swept up in the media frenzy because of the voice of the far rights. Let's let's kind of just put that to the side, and academically let's look at this. Grooming gangs, the term, what's the history? Where is it from? It's only come to our screens in about 2003. What does that mean? That it didn't exist before 2003? It did exist, but because there was no minority that could be scapegoated, it wasn't kind of put into the headlines as it is now.
It wasn't made into a separate category, you could say.
Exactly.
I mean, you can think of it this way. You have the umbrella of sexual exploitation. Underneath that umbrella, you have different segments. So you have rape, you have child abuse, and sometimes obviously they link trafficking, human trafficking, and a lot of times they will link with each other. And so what I think the problem with statistics, another problem, we talked about the causality correlation problem, but there's another problem, which is that when you make your own category, sometimes you can do so with the intent of marginalizing a certain community. Why don't we just talk about these problems generically? Like, for example, human trafficking. Why don't we talk about rape generally?
That's not going to be mentioned because there's no minority to pin that on.
Exactly.
The grooming gangs thing, anytime you're told grooming gang or terrorist, who do you think of first?
Right.
Immediately now you think of Muslim. And that's what the EDL has been doing, immediately linking Muslim with grooming gang, Muslim with the word terrorist. Human trafficking is an old term. Prostitution, pimping, they're old terms. For example, we were talking about pimping. 11 Hungarians have been caught trafficking and exploiting 250 women. One Brazilian has made about 150,000 from prostitution in the UK. But like you said, because this is a term that's been there for quite a while, grooming gangs, this term hasn't. It's a relatively fresh term.
It's a new category.
It's untainted. So it has now been planted on the Muslims, and now because of what's been shown to us repetitively, it's being drilled into our subconscious now.
Okay, let's carry on.
Stephen Lennon, also known as Tommy Robinson, former leader of the English Defence League, was just a young boy in the town of Luton when he learned a family member had been victimized by a grooming gang.
My cousin was raped and she was found naked running from the Muslim community, aged 13. The police wouldn't help.
Running from the Muslim community. Such a big words, like he's
Muslim community. How many millions are there in this country? So she was running away from all the Muslims.
that's what I'm saying, extreme.
All the police will say is she's a drug addict. She was a drug addict because they got her hooked on drugs after grooming and raping her.
Some say grooming gangs originate from a particular region of Pakistan, but others point out that the Quran encourages Muslims to take enemy women as sex slaves, and that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old wife.
Like, for example, Tommy Robinson, we don't have an issue with him, and we don't say to him, you know what, why are you going after these vile individuals, these Pakistani? We don't have a problem with you going after them. I'm being honest with you. If you rang me today and said, look, I'm going to go there, you come, I'll say, look, time and place.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, my issue is this. You're going there and making it seem a Muslim problem.
Yeah.
My issue is that when you go into these terrorist attacks that happen, you make it a Muslim problem. You don't see it as, okay, look, this terrorism done. Yes, terrorism done is done by a variety of people from different backgrounds. You get what I'm trying to say? We don't have that issue with you. The issue is that you take things out of context.
Let me just address what he said here, because he made a couple of allegations. We said that with the Aisha thing, the Prophet's wife, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Me and you made a video, so that will be we'll put that in the description.
Yes.
So that you guys can refer to that. But just quickly on the other issue of what the right hand possesses, which is referred to in the Quran. Now the thing is, you have to understand that this is referring to prisoners of war that actually is completely dependent upon, as you've mentioned, the social and political context. It does not apply in today's world according to the consensus of the scholars, because now there is no such thing as prisoners of war. We're not in a state of war, and this is the reality of the situation. So no one can use this as an example. Now, having said that, once again, as you correctly said, you correctly said that basically in America, you could argue, because the majority are actually Christian, that they follow the Bible. Now I could pull out Numbers 31:18 and say, look, it says that go into the town and take the women as the young girls as slaves, and I can say, look, this is linked to this. So most Christians would object to that, and rightfully so. They say, listen, this is no causality here.
Exactly.
Why? Because actually I don't think they're inspired by this. The same thing would apply with us.
I bet you they don't even know this verse. I bet you not a single would say, you know what I did. Why? Because I challenge you. Look, I'm being very clear cut here. They would not. Same way with these guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, looking at their lifestyle and what they're doing, you are far from you are far from what Islam teaches. And this is why you're doing. Why do you think? Let me ask you a question. Why do you think these men are doing what they're doing? Why? Because here it was used that easy target.
Yeah.
To me, it seems they're like whichever one's an easy target.
Yeah.
The issue here, the word that we need to understand is easy. They're looking for easy target. Do you get it?
Yeah.
And if that easy target is a black girls, they're gonna go for black girls. If it's Muslim girls, they're gonna go for Muslim girls. If it's white girls, what they're doing, the most that you can say, you know what, these guys are racist. Yeah. You get what I'm trying to say?
Do you know what's interesting as well is that this news report is kind of contradicting itself. First, it's talking about how these people are addicted to drugs and these kind of things, and then they're not only addicted to drugs, but they actually supply it for the people that they groom. Yeah. But at the same time, they're meant to represent an orthodox strand of Islam.
It's two opposites.
Or an extremist form of Islam even. Yeah? So having said that, it doesn't make any sense, because there's no interpretation, not even the extremist, abhorrent ISIS interpretation of Islam, that allows, for example, the consumption of intoxicants. So here we don't see what do you want us to believe here?
There's no correlation.
Yeah, there is no causation. Yeah,
somebody's just trying to connect it.
Yeah,
like you have to try hard to connect it, and it's all based on emotion. Statistics doesn't show it. Scripture doesn't show it. Yeah. So
now you guys said numbers. Now if we look at Romania, Romania is 98% Christian. Yeah, there was an issue of a Romanian paedophile who groomed 10 kids. Yeah, now. Is that now a Christian problem? Why was there no mention of the word Christian in any of the articles or news coverage? Now, if you look at, say, Poland, 94% Christian, country, same issue happened, no mention of the word Christian. You know, even in Hungary, there was a grooming gang who exploited hundreds of women for 6 years. Hundreds of women for 6 years.
Where did they get this from?
Yeah. Now, they are over 50% of the country is Christian. Yeah, okay. Majority Christian nation. Are you going to link that to Christianity then? Jimmy Savile. Yeah, Jimmy Savile he had a Roman Catholic upbringing. His religion isn't getting mentioned. The texts aren't being scrutinized. Verses aren't being taken out of context. You take someone like Richard Huckle, who was a practicing Christian from Kent, and he went to Malaysia, abusing kids. His religion, that was the purpose of his visit. His religion wasn't brought up. Bible texts weren't taken, and the Christian community weren't told to apologize for these acts. Yeah, these are majority Romania, Poland, Hungary. In fact, the thing is, the danger is when you monopolize to a particular color or religion. Yeah, what you are now doing is you're painting the perpetrators of a certain color and a faith,
That's
which
a good
gives
point,
a free pass to the others.
Yeah.
That's why initially the police failed to do so.
The West, because of its power structures and its elite being on top in the media and all those kind of things, he says that you're always going to have in the West the bad guy. So as you mentioned correctly before, you had the black guys. They were bad. Jews were in Europe. Actually, there's a Jewish problem in Europe.
Yeah.
Then you have in what do you call it? Then you have Russians,
Japanese,
Japanese, communists. All of these individuals had their turn.
Yeah.
Being
Who do you think is
demonized.
going to be next after Muslims? I think the Koreans.
I don't think.
But if these people are more responsible, and like you said, if they are just and they go to Christian perpetrators, they go to white, black perpetrators, they will be more just. And if you're just, you can tackle this issue head on. Now, we're not saying that Asians or Muslims, they are exempt from this. We're saying, look, if it is an issue, go for it. But wherever this issue is arising, deal with it holistically. Don't just deal with fringe elements. If it's happening with MPs, and it's been covered up, deal with it. If things are happening online, deal with it.
We're asking Tommy Robinson, look, we're not even asking you to find us. We will come to you, no problem. We've said this before, we'll say it again, yeah? Look, you're going to people who can't even speak English properly, etc. We're saying to you, look, why don't you come and talk to one of us? All your arguments, the Prophet marrying Aisha at 9, these sex slaves, whatever you claim, no problem. Why don't you come and talk to us? Because you know it will be your intellectual burial. Because you know intellectually you'll be buried. Because this is what you thrive on. Putting terror into people's hearts and you're making money off that.
I
These
mean,
topics.
Tommy wrote a book recently, didn't he?
Yeah. There you go.
He's writing
good
books
one,
about
yeah.
Muslims like this and all this.
No, it's
kind of
crazy.
thing.
I'm sorry. It's like Hitler writing a book on the Old Testament.
Yeah, no,
No. But no, I'm not saying he's as bad as him.
yeah.
But
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
come on, man.
Get away.
It's
But
ridiculous.
moreover, I mean, let me just not. I don't want to humiliate anyone here, but
He humiliates himself. You don't need to.
no. The point is like someone who might not even have formal GCSE qualifications. I mean, I don't even know if he's got a C grade in maths and English. Someone like that writing an academic piece on Islam, a religion which he has no idea about, in a language which he has not, it doesn't have to write his own name in.
So, guys, hope you guys have benefited. That's about it, really. Do share this with your friends and family and non-Muslims as well. That's it.